The bounty hunters. Pukey wakes up with a smile. He's a little sore, and no doubt Cindy is thoroughly but smugly sore herself. By the time they'd been driven back to the ship, she had been well and truly sloshed. Granted, with him spiking his own drinks, he had a pleasant enough buzz as well. He begins to squirm out, and Cindy lets out a little whimper. "It's too early. We slept for 10 hours, Pukey whispers, and she burrows into the pillow a bit more. "Not enough," she mutters, and he nods. "I'll get you some water and breakfast," he says even softer. "Take your time, just want to sleep," Cindy mutters. "No breakfast?" he asks. Eggs and bacon with toast were universal enough. "Menu," she mutters, and he suppresses a chuckle as he stands up, then bends at the waist to give her a kiss on the cheek. She lets out a happy little sigh, and with utterly silent feet he slips out of their shared bedroom. He takes a minute to relieve himself in the nearest bathroom, and with a stretch and a sigh he walks into the main mess hall. "Yo-ho! Yo-ho! A pirate's life for—" The whole crew greets him with as Scaly shoves his tricorn hat onto his head and darts away with a laugh. That the kid's dressed in a striped shirt and has an eye patch over his cybernetic eye is not lost on him. Not that something as thin as an eye patch could actually stop his or Pukey's cybernetic eyes. "Cork it," he orders with a laugh. "Unless you've got the rum, lads?" "Yar," Mustard replies, holding up a bottle, and Pukey straight up laughs in amusement. "Not for breakfast. I'll take some coffee, though, and whatever's hot. Oatmeal, loaded up with that meat honey the bee women make," the hat remarks before taking a spoonful of the slightly pinkish concoction himself. "Isn't that the stuff that tastes like maple bacon?" "Yeah, it's kinda weird, but more than all right. Healthy and tasty enough you can ignore that first part." Mr. T adds in around a mug of something steaming and likely very British. "All right, let's try it out," he says, and is quickly enough holding the warm food in his mouth and trying to mentally shift through exactly what he should think about this. The taste isn't bad, but it really doesn't match up with the texture. Like a bacon and oats honey smoothie. Right in the field of, "I don't know what to think, isn't it?" Tang asks as he takes a drink of a mildly green milk. "What kind of thing did that come from?" Pukey asks, stabbing at the off-color liquid with his spoon. "Imagine a cross between a buffalo and a snake, perfectly edible and even kind of boring, but the color keeps throwing me off." "Really? Take normal milk and water it down a bit. That's this, boring, but off-color," Tang remarks as he pours an entire glass down his throat. Quenches thirst well enough and is dirt cheap to get just about anywhere. Speaking of things happening anywhere, what about what happened here last night? "Bit of a left turn, boss, but okay," Dong says as he puts his drained cup into his own bowl. "But we were tested by and passed muster for the Elder Crimson Hewers. We're gonna need some bigger toys if they turn hostile, though. Sniper fire and standard munitions enhanced with Axiom both failed to penetrate the armor and do anything other than inconvenience them and knock them around. They were more entertained than anything, and the only reason we impressed them was that we turned the ambush backwards on them. On some good news then. I made contact with one of the owners. They're peaceful enough so long as we don't do anything stupid. Making inroads into possibly hiring us as well, I told them to keep it legal so we don't end up dodging bounty hunters of our own down the road." As much fun as that would be, it would make getting paid a pretty annoying venture, Airfarce notes. "Oh, I don't know. Getting paid by the government to fetch my husband might make a fun game a few times," Onyx remarks with a grin. "How's that supposed to be fun?" Jade asks, and Onyx coughs nervously as Airfarce smiles up at her. "Oh, you think this is funny? Fine, you explain it then." "Mommy is talking about getting paid to have sexy roleplay with Daddy." "Not like that." Onyx is instantly flustered. She's ignorant, not stupid. She can take it, Airfarce says. Our little girl isn't a frail sort. Oh, those things. Would it be all right if When do I get to try those things? Jade asks, and Onyx's eyes go wide. When you've got the skills and knowledge to stand on your own. When you're ready to leave. That's when you're ready to start your own family, Airfarce says with a smile of remembrance. That sounded like a quote, Onyx notes. It's a wordier and gentler version of what my father said to me, Airfarce says as he looks up towards the ceiling, and in his mind's eye his gaze goes to Earth. Logically, he knows that he's practically guaranteed to be looking the wrong way entirely. Space being in motion makes a straight line to anything a massive pain in the ass to even consider. I need to go flying or something. I'm getting kind of homesick again, he mutters to himself. Can you teach me how to properly fly a shuttle? Scaly asks, and Airfarce smiles. Me too. I want to fly, Jade adds in. I'll do you both one better. You'll both be flying and I'll be telling you how from right behind you, Airfarce says, standing up. Who's on dishes again? I've got it. You have fun. J3 remarks, grabbing the dishes and quickly clearing the table. So what's next? We've felt out the nightlife and already made an impression on the brawl yards. Should we scout that out a little more thoroughly? Or the hivers? Gentlemen, I'm looking for opinions or wild ideas. Actually, sir, with a bit of modifications to these badges, we could get into the wetworks or see what we can about Spirit Street. The sooner we get the harder parts out of the way, the better. That's not hard. Andrea and Roth are basically local grunts. Rumor-mongering and knowing when to stay the hell out of the boss's path is a honed survival trait for girls like that. And of course they're willing to talk. The women of the galaxy redefine desperate, Pukey remarks. Hey, Onyx protests with her hands on her hips. Yes? Airfarce asks. I wasn't desperate. I scared you nearly senseless, and you then did your level best to crush my pelvis. If not for the sheer padding, you'd have done it, he says, leaning back and slapping Onyx on the ass. Her hand zips down and holds it there. She then reaches down and lifts him up, by the front of his shirt. There's a pause as she simply tries to stare him down, but Airfarce isn't someone that can be easily intimidated, and he slowly plants his feet on her thighs, reaches down, and then pulls at the back of her head to plant a deep kiss. I didn't need to see that this early. Jade grumps as chuckles round the room. Easy enough, Captain. We make a rule and make it plain. Going full out with any of us means that you're part of the team now. We'll play around outside it, especially if it helps the job, but actual commitment requires commitment in return, the hat says before starting again with a prissy tone. If those Crimson Hewer girls decide to chase my ass down, then they better be ready to commit. I'm not a one-and-done kind of guy. The guys choke down a laugh as Jade openly giggles. Onyx, for her part, breaks off the kiss. Airfarce, snorting in amusement, had kind of ruined it anyways. I wasn't paying attention, but yes, you are. She snipes at him, and the hat mimes, reeling back and clutching his heart as if devastated. Scaly snorts in amusement at that bit. So how are things with those girls? Mr. T asks, Mustard, and the man grins. That good, is it? Oh yes. They're distant cousins and have lived on the station since they were little girls. They're very, very familiar with the area. It's not official, and the local gents either don't know or didn't tell us, but there are a lot of air-filled bars for them to get a proper drink without it drifting everywhere. Hard to sip whiskey underwater, Pukey remarks in thought. Do we have any information on Spirit Street? I may have something, Bike says before tapping at the table a bit before a hologram appears over them. He fiddles through it a bit until it shows what looks like a dark-skinned Tret woman with purple hair, an eye patch, and strange lines in her body as if she were in segments. A wrap covers her lower body, but does nothing to hide the fact she's got white panties on, and a sparkling pink tube top in a circuit-like pattern keeps her decent. Barely. Meet Lady Gear. She leads one of the top 5 religious parties, and this one does not have raging misandry as a central tenet. The synth ascendancy. Long story short, it's a religion about being your best self through literal upgrades. A huge chunk of their population are brain uploads, partial cyborgs, or full conversion cyborgs like Gear here. Alright, how does this help us? Pukey asks. The synth ascendancy differs itself from many other technological-based religions by placing an unusually high emphasis on their reproductive abilities. Long story short, they all have not only artificial wombs, but the best in the galaxy. Even if the base species does not normally give birth to litters a single night, with one of these over-the-top fertile robot women will end up with dozens of children at the least. If there's a point, get to it. Pukey orders and Bike nods. They like their men the way they like everything else, cybernetically augmented. You and Scaly would find yourselves welcome, if not guests of honor, in any of their temples. Cindy would also be very welcome. As a surgeon specializing in cybernetic implants, she'd almost be an unofficial priestess to them. Between the 3 of you, it's a very easy job to open up a friendly contact in an otherwise unfriendly part of the station. Basically, Captain, you're a walking fetish for these girls, with Scaly being the slithering jailbait. What about the Astral Guides and Mother Tearclaw? Surely they'd be willing to help out. It's in the name Astral Guide, Jade asks. She's where I got most of this information from, or she pointed the way at least. I'm afraid that as wonderful as the guides are, they're also a severe minority on this station. It's a mostly Canador religion, and most Canador on the station are Crimson Hewers who are decidedly not Astral Guides. Still, it's good that you're thinking. You've got a good head for this kiddo. Bike compliments her, and she shows a smile full of serrated teeth. This may be an interesting thing to look into. How common are these tech-based religions? Common enough that you can find a temple of science in every major urban area. We just haven't had cause to pay much attention before. But I looked over the maps from our old missions, and most cities and towns had at least one religious district, and in each one there was a temple or church of some kind of machine cult. This could have been useful before, Pukey remarks as he drums the table with his hard, light hand to emphasize the point. Yes and no. Useful in that they'll make great local contacts. Machine cults are the go-to girls if you want the local information network cracked open so wide you could lose a planet in it. However, you also had me on direct orders to include hacking and information retrieval into my communications officer purview. So that's what I did. Hell, I actually got some help a few times by asking some of their message boards how to hack better, and I got entire essays for answers. And not useful in sheets of technobabble and normal speech.